So we're going to continue that. There's, lots of distractions at the grocery store, lots of different smells that are going to be part of her everyday life as a guide dog. So we're going to offer lots of reinforcement for her making the right choices and getting her acclimated and used to the carts and everything that goes on in the grocery store. So we'll go ahead and start. So she hasn't been shopping next to a grocery cart yet, so this is her first time doing it, so we'll see how she does. We really just want her relaxed and comfortable next to the grocery cart and offer lots of encouragement for not pulling on the leash and not scavenging. There's lots of food distractions on the ground, which she's going to have to get used to, which you saw she just pulled towards something. So we're just going to stand near it and offer some reinforcement when she chooses not to pull next to it. Thanks. Good girl. So the grocery store can be really tricky for our puppies because there's lots of things at their level, so she can sniff all of this stuff. And a lot of times the tags hanging are very enticing. So we really try to make sure that they get used to being in these tighter aisles. Thanks. And be used to be comfortable standing next to all of this different stuff. So she's doing a really good job. I'm offering her a lot of reinforcement for making the right choice and not investigating and not scavenging on the ground. Good job, Smudge. So the next thing that our puppies have to get used to is waiting when someone's looking at something. So oftentimes when we're doing a learning outing, we will just open and close stuff, get them used to it. Thanks. Good job. And maybe go to the next one. I'm not going to get any ice cream today. Not today. So it's really important that our puppies learn to wait patiently, that they don't start finding other things to do, like they don't start scavenging, they don't start sniffing things, they don't start getting distracted and pulling away. So she's doing a great job of that. Focus. And the next thing we're going to do, we're actually going to leave our cart here, and we're going to walk through the feed aisle. So a lot of times dogs can get distracted by that smell. And so we always want to make sure that they're comfortable with it before they come in for training. So we start really young so they can walk by and be comfortable. So thank you. So you can see Smudge is a little distracted by the stuff on the ground, but she's responding really well to her collar pressure. So the collar cueing that we've been putting into practice is really working. So when she adds that tension, she responds to it accordingly by taking a step back and relieving the tension, which is exactly what we want.
Amy asks, how long does it take to learn how to train dogs to assist someone?
It takes, our volunteers go through orientation and application process, and that can take anywhere from 3 to 6 months. And then there's constant training with the dogs. So you have to meet with your advisor at least once a month. Nice. And then we go from there. It's constantly a learning process because you're with the dog, and but to become a guide dog instructor, it takes about 3 years. She's a little cautious about the smell. You can see she's not really wanting to move closer. Her tail is dropped down. So I'm just going to let her investigate and check it out. Good girl. It's okay. The fridge that everything is in is fairly loud too. You can get her startles the dog, the different smells that are going on. So I'm just going to let her know that she's doing okay by offering her a little bit of support. Good job. And then we're going to continue walking. Good job. So this is a pretty common experience for our puppies. They, get overwhelmed by something, but that's why the puppy raiser is there. That's why we start this young, to make it really fun.
Tara asks, how do you control humans from trying to pet the dog?
What was the question?
How do you keep humans from trying to pet the dog?
So we usually ask people not to pet them if they're working. It is important actually for our puppies to be socialized with the public and pet by public, but we always want them to ask first because not every puppy is ready to be pet by someone. Smudge gets very excited, she gets really wiggly, and then she loses focus. So if someone's interested in petting a future assistance dog, they should always ask, but you should really ignore any guide dog or service dog because they're working and we never want them to get distracted. So we have a little bit of a break. So we're actually going to walk past the meat again, but I'm going to be in between it.
Jingy says, hi, Smudge. What's the pass-fail rate for guide doggies?
It's most success in schools is around 50%, but that doesn't take into percentage the dogs that we donate to other schools, the dogs that make it in other programs. But really, any dog that chooses this career or chooses and tells us that they want to be a pet instead is a success. Ideally, we want most of them to become guide dogs, but that's not the career path they choose. So it's not fair to force them to do something that they don't want to do. So it looks like Smudge is getting a little more comfortable around this smell.
Are you guys in the meat section now? Is that what's going on?
What was the question?
I said, are you guys in the meat section now? Is that what's going on?
Yeah, we were in the meat section, so she was a little startled by the noise or by the smell. Smudge. Good girl. So another thing that we're going to practice is we're going to go into Smudge. We're going to go into one of the aisles and practice some distractions with using objects. So, as we all know, Smudge loves glowing objects and things that roll and move. So we're just going to practice a little bit of distract her with a tennis ball. So we've done her artificial situations and scenarios, and we're applying it in public instead of my house or my backyard. So we have the ball, and the objective is that when I roll the ball, she's going to choose not to go after it. Nice. And then get reward for that. So it's really important that, say, if something drops, that she chooses. Oh, Smudge, come here. So it's really important that if something drops, she chooses not to chase after it. So I'm going to back up a little bit, roll the ball towards the camera, and see how she does. I'm going to wait for a sit. Like, nice, good job. Good girl, Smudge. Good girl. So we want our puppies to not be reactive to whatever's going on around them. And she's doing a really great job with that. This is a lot of practice that our puppy raisers have to put into things because this will apply to, maybe something drops on the counter, nice, and rolls away from her. Maybe she sees her blowing leaves that she loves so much, and she applies the same theory, the same understanding that you don't chase a rolling tennis ball. Nice. So you shouldn't chase the leaves. And she gets to play with toys and stuff when she's off duty, but right now she has her vest on. We're in public, so there's a different expectation. Thanks. Good girl. We're going to try one more time. So this is the sort of stuff that our puppy raisers practice on their own and in class too. A lot of puppy raising is self-control exercises and making sure, nice, that our puppies understand that they can't act impulsively. Nice. And that they have to be practicing their self-control and they have to be responsive and engage with the handler instead. Like, girl. All right, so we're going to pick up our tennis ball. Good job. We're going to walk through the produce section a little bit. We're going to walk on the other side of the meat department and see if she gets a little more comfortable with that as well.
If you're just tuning in, we are hanging out with Smudge, who's training to be a guide dog with the Guide Dog Foundation for the Blind. How old is she now?
She is a little over 4 months old.
All right. And if you're wondering why her name is Smudge, it's because she has a black mark on the side of her face. That's a smudge.
So we've got some different surfaces here, some different distractions on the ground, produce stickers, little hose. So I'm going to let her practice her self-control and give her lots of reinforcement. So the situation just got harder for her. So that means I'm going to be offering more and more reinforcement. So I'm going to pause right here and just act like I'm looking at something, and I'm going to make sure that she stays focused on me, that she's well behaved, she doesn't choose to sniff or scavenge.
We got a question from Avi, and it's: could a retired police dog be retrained for another service job?
If the dog is a retired police dog,
Yes.
that's really up to the dog's temperament and how long they've been retired, why they were retired. So if we have a dog that comes back at a younger age, we might look and see why they were retired, but generally they're retired because they're showing that they don't want a career anymore, that they'd rather be a pet. So we always look into the dog's best interest and then go from there. We're going to walk over here with some stuff that's at her level. Good girl.
Amy wants to know, how early did you start training Smudge?
What was the question?
How early did you start training Smudge?
So all of our puppies actually get work with some of our volunteers and our staff in the nursery. So they start getting their body handled, they start hearing different noises and seeing different things. But I've been working with Smudge since she was about 6 weeks old. So I've been with her a couple months now.
All right.
Nice.
But they start working, or before that, with volunteers in the nursery, he said?
Yeah, so yep. So from 2 weeks to 6 weeks, they're working with volunteers and other staff members, and then around 8 weeks old, so 2 months, they start working with their puppy raiser, and that's what I'm doing with Smudge. Nice, good girl. So this is really important for her. It's just settling when there are people walking by and there's some food on the grounds behind her. There's some different smells going on. So she's doing a really good job not acting impulsively. She's just waiting for the next cue from me. She's being very polite. Nice. Okay. Good girl. So it's important that even with potential distractions, our dogs stay focused, and she's doing a really, really great job. Nice. Which is why I'm offering her so many kibble and so much reinforcement. We're going to walk by.
Marie Chantel asks, how long does the dog work with the person they'll be assisting?
Our guide dogs' careers are normally around 8 years long. So the dog usually retires when they're around 10 years of age. But some dogs work shorter times than that. Some dogs work longer. It's really up to the dog and the team and how comfortable they are with each other and what's going on with them. Thanks.
And Serene asks, what are the criteria or signs to identify potential service dogs?
Well, we have our own breeding program. So we breed dogs that are really comfortable with people and very people oriented. You can see that with Smudge. We want a dog that is motivated by food because that's the best way to train dogs. We can communicate and speak with them by rewarding them with food. We also want a dog that is bold and comfortable in a lot of different situations, that they don't get stressed or have anxieties or fears. Good girl. But we also want a dog that is eager to please and wants to seek out the handler and engage with them. Nice. So it's a really fine balance that you're not looking for all of these qualities in pets. So we really have a unique situation where we can breed our dogs to be exactly what we're looking for and have the exact temperament that we want, which unfortunately you can't always find using rescue dogs or shelter dogs, because we start exposing our puppies to all sorts of things when they're babies. So it's really about the training that goes into it and the exposure just as much as the breeding. Good girl.
And I got a question from Nancy. She wants to know how someone can obtain a service animal.
What was the question?
She wants to know how someone could obtain a service dog.
How long it takes to train a service dog?
No, like how could someone get a service dog if they needed one?
Sorry, I can't hear the question.
If someone was in need of a service dog, how would they go about getting one?
So there's the Assistance Dog International is a program that certifies different service dog schools, and we work with those. We're an ADI accredited school, so you can go to their website. It's Assistance Dogs International, and look at the different service dog schools in your area and see what types of people and what types of limitations they serve and help support. We serve veterans, and that's where our program, America's Vet Dogs, come in. And then we also have our guide dog program, which serves people that are blind or visually impaired. Good girl.
All right. Well, it looks like Smudge did a really good job today.
Yeah, she did. She was very relaxed and really tuned into me and did great with all these different distractions.
Okay, well, thanks to everyone for watching, and thanks to Guide Dog Foundation for the Blind. If you want to know more about Guide Dog Foundation for the Blind, you can visit guidedogs.org. That's Guide Dogs with an S, right? Or guide?
It's without an
without
S.
An S.
Guidedog.org.
Guidedog.org. That's singular. And vet dogs.
Yes.
With an S. .org. Plural. Okay. Thanks to everyone for watching.